Greetings again as we're beginning to browse our way through the Bible. Hope you're enjoying it as we take a look into more of Mark's Gospel. We'll be looking into the second chapter again of his Gospel today. And if you want to turn to that passage, well, here it is on the screen, and you can take your time to open your scripture and see whatever translation that you would like to have, and then begin reading and take a look at what Mark has recorded for this section of our browsing through the Bible. Well, a couple things to think about again, and I may have already talked about some of them, but they continue to be a part of my thinking process. And the first one is still, whose house is this? Again, as you look at it, Mark has us returning to his house or returning home, and that is continually an issue. Raises another question for me. Was Jesus really penniless or not? Think about it. Man is 30 years old. He was a builder and a carpenter, and some even say perhaps a stonemason, because the word is a broad term that talks about Jesus, the carpenter. If he'd been with his father and been trained, and then Joseph died, and who would have taken over the business but the eldest son? And now his brothers have been working in the business. It may be that Jesus had resources, and at age 30, when God made it clear to him that he was to begin his message, why he turned everything over to his brothers, but he may not have been as penniless as some would like to think. I don't know that that's a fact, but at least it's something that we should think about as we look into Jesus' life and the teachings that he brings to us through the scriptures. Also, looking at this passage, it seems to me that Levi's calling is only a transitional part of Mark's message. He's just finished a miracle, and they talk about him walking along and seeing Levi and calling him, and then he moves right on into this particular meal at Jesus' own table, and he is inviting everyone that, the general population, not necessarily the religious leaders. Well, let's take a quick look at some photos that I picked up on the internet of what a meal might have been like in the home of Jesus. Interesting pictures that are not at all what we have in our photos today and in our houses today. Each one of these shows people sitting on the floor and not sitting at tables like some do in the past. But here we have it. A meeting like this, and what we don't see here is that people also were able to stand outside the house and listen to what was going on, and even watching what was going on throughout the meal that they were having. Kind of strange, but that's the way it is. Jesus invited the common people to have this meal, not the important people, not even the religious leaders. But when it comes to the religious leaders, you notice this, that they had a very exclusive attitude about themselves and about what was appropriate in their community. And to have been eating with publicans and sinners was something that would not be a part of their life. They wouldn't want to be contaminated by the average person of that day. Jesus responds to that, and he makes it clear that, in fact, the people who really need someone to come and help them are those who have a problem. And those who are in that Pharisaical group don't recognize their own spiritual shortcomings, and because they don't have a problem, perhaps Jesus really didn't intend his message to them directly, but to the general population, so that they would see their need and respond to Jesus. Of course, many of the Pharisees and Sadducees did respond to the message and became followers, as we find later on in this scripture and also in Luke's gospel and his second volume, the book of Acts. Another key factor is that Jesus really wants you to be a part of this dinner. He wants you to be a part of the family. In fact, Jesus wants everyone to be at the table, figuratively being a part of those who have followed him and are destined for salvation. Well, I appreciate you watching this. I trust you'll join me again as we move further into Mark's Gospel and do some more browsing through the Bible. Now that you've seen this video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and hit that thumbs up, the like button, subscribe, and click the bell so that you can get notified about future videos as we put them on the air. Thanks again for watching. We hope to see you again.